Lloyd Hall was born on June 20th, 1894, to Augustus and Isabel Hall in Elgin, Illinois, about 40 miles northwest of Chicago. Augustus Hall was a high school graduate and a Baptist minister, and his own father had come to Chicago in the 1830s and had become the first pastor of the Quinn Chapel African Methodist Church, the city's first African American congregation in the 1840s. Isabel Hall was also a high school graduate, uncommon for women, especially African American women. In the late 1800s, her mother had escaped slavery on the Underground Railroads as a teenager and settled in Illinois. Despite Hall's academic qualifications, racism affected his employment prospects. For example, he was hired for a job sight unseen with the Western Electric Company, but turned away when he arrived for work in person. Many other companies unwilling to employ African American chemists also rejected Hall before he found a job with the Chicago Department of Health Laboratories in 1916. So at Griffith Laboratories, Hall turned his interest in food chemistry specifically to the science of meat curing. Curing techniques intend to preserve and enhance the flavor and appearance of meat that had been used for some time. Table salt mixed with chemicals such as sodium or potassium nitrate was well-known curing compounds. However, a significant problem arose because the sodium nitrate affected the meat considerably more quickly than did the sodium chloride. The meat fell apart before it was preserved. Hall considered possible methods to delay the effects of the sodium nitrate, so the sodium chloride would have sufficient time to fully preserve the meat. Hall's solution to this challenge revolutionized the meat curing industry. He determined that by including small amounts of sodium nitrate within crystals of sodium chloride, the quicker acting chemicals would not reach the meat until after the slowing acting sodium chloride had dissolved. This meant that the meat was fully preserved before it was exposed to properties of the sodium nitrate. In order to encapsulate the chemicals within the sodium chloride crystals, Hall developed flash drying technique. Despite his great success, Hall's work was not complete. He discovered that the flash dried crystals tended to absorb moisture from the air when stored, rendering them less effective. To solve this problem, Hall thought of a way to stop the absorption of the moisture by the crystals. He struck upon the idea of adding a combination of glycerine and alkali metal to the prepared flash dried crystals. In 1959, Hall retired from Griffith Laboratories. That same year, he received an honorary membership award from the American Institute of Chemists, honoring his leadership in food chemistry. After retirement, Hall and his wife relocated to California, where he resided for the rest of his life. After his official retirement in 1960, Hall continued his scientific and educational pursuit. Shortly after his retirement, he traveled to Indonesia to serve as a consultant to the United Nations Food and Architectural Organization. In 1962, President John F. Kennedy appointed Hall to the American Food of Peace Council, which oversaw the donations of food to developing nations. Hall remained in this position until 1964. He was also active in organizations such as the American Red Cross and worked for the SEED project, which aimed to educate underprivileged youth who were interested in chemistry careers. But sadly, all good things must come to an end. Hall died on January 2nd, 1971 in California. By this time of his death, he had received 105 patents covering areas such as solid seasonings, flavoring compounds, and protective food coatings. In 2004, Hall was put into the Hall of Fame in honor of his pioneering contributions to the field of food preservation and science. But yeah, that's the end of my project. I hope you guys liked it. Hope you guys liked the Fortnite gameplay. And yeah, roll the credits.
Yo, I ain't here for the money.